Can you solve all these anthropology questions? The study of fossils. On track. Paleontology is the correct answer. Study of human culture. You're right. Anthropology is the correct answer. Archaeology is a brand of. Bravo. Anthropology is the answer. It is the study of society. Well picked. Sociology is the correct answer. Study of prehistoric fossils. Solid response. Paleontology is a valid choice. Anthropology is the study of. Nicely done. Bones is a solid answer. The scientific study of mankind. Correct response. Anthropology is the most accurate answer. The systematic study of language. Right again. Linguistics is a valid answer. It is the study of power struggle. Well reasoned. Political science is the correct choice. Who is the father of anthropology? You got it. Your choice, good Franz, is right. Social anthropology is a branch of. You chose anthropology, and it is correct. How many types does anthropology has? Well done. 4 is the right choice. Anthropology has how many subfields? Great thinking. 5 is the right choice. The study of human culture is known as. Smart pick. Anthropology is the correct choice. What is the study of humankind called? Strong choice. Anthropology is the right answer. Who wrote archaeology as anthropology? Smart move. Lewis Binford is an accurate answer. Biological anthropology used to be called. Right choice. Physical anthropology is the best answer. The study of material remains of cultures. Valid point. Archaeology is true. A decision reached after examining evidence. Good job. Conclusion works well here. Use skeletal body remains for identification. Nice selection. Anthropology is the correct and valid answer. The process of replacing cartilage with bone. Clear logic. Your choice ossification is sound. How many branches of anthropology are there? Perfect. 4 is the correct choice. Which are the 4 subdivisions of anthropology? Good thinking. Biological, cultural, linguistic archaeology is the right answer. Cultural bias in anthropology is described as. Correct. Ethnocentrism is the right answer. The term social anthropology was originated in. Excellent choice. United Kingdom is the right answer. What are the 2 broad fields of anthropology? Sharp thinking. Physical and cultural is the right choice. Who is the father of anthropology in Indonesia? Nice work. You chose good luck, and it is correct. It is a science that studies human civilization. Great job. Sociology is the accurate answer. What is the process of bone replacing cartilage? Exactly. Ossification makes sense. The word anthropos from anthropology means dash. Excellent. Human is a brilliant choice. Which is not a sub-branch of cultural anthropology? Nicely done. Biology is a solid answer. The following are subfields of anthropology except. Right choice. Conflict anthropology is the best answer. Anthropology is the combination of the Greek words. Well done. Anthropos and logos is the right choice. The study of objects to learn about past human life. Strong choice. Archaeology is the right answer. Who is known as the father of American anthropology? Nice work. You chose Franz Boas, and it is correct. How long has Clemson offered a major in anthropology? You're right. 11 years is the correct answer. It is the scientific study of human life and culture. Smart move. Anthropology is an accurate answer. Describes the similarities and differences in culture. Perfect. Cultural anthropology is the correct choice. Which of the following is not a field of anthropology? Sharp thinking. Sociological is the right choice. Economic anthropology is a main branch of anthropology. Excellent choice. False is the right answer. It is the study of the origin of human and its culture. Correct response. Anthropology is the most accurate answer. The term anthropology came from which two Greek words? On track. Logos and anthros is the correct answer. What is the insider perspective called in anthropology? Good thinking. Emic is the right answer. Examines individuals and government in political context. You got it. Your choice goal of political science is right. A list of events in the order in which they occurred dash. Solid response. Chronology is a valid choice. The real foundation of American anthropology was laid by. Great job. Franz Boas is the accurate answer. This is the study of the origins of people and societies. Bravo. Anthropology is the answer. Application of entomology to civil and criminal legal cases. Good job. Forensic entomology works well here. In which branch of anthropology would genetics be studied? Well reasoned. Biological anthropology is the correct choice. It is often defined as who gets what, when, where, and how. Great thinking. Political science is the right choice. What is not one of the primary 4 fields of anthropology? Correct. Business anthropology is the right answer. The study of humans from a biological perspective is called. Nice selection. Physical anthropology is the correct and valid answer. What is the systematic study of people and cultures known as? Clear logic. Your choice anthropology is sound. The physical record of a person's life as told by their bones. You chose osteobiography, and it is correct. It is the systematic study of society and social interactions. Well picked. Sociology is the correct answer. One of the goals is to avoid conflict and promote cooperation. Right again. Political science is a valid answer. Study of humanity from a broad and biological perspective. Dash. Exactly. Anthropology makes sense.
Studies the biological dimensions of humans and other primates. Valid point. Physical anthropology is true. What did Frank Cushing contribute to the world of anthropology?
Smart pick. Participant observation is the correct choice.
Dash is one of the fields of study in sociocultural anthropology. Excellent. Anthropology of symbols is a brilliant choice. This is everything that a person learns as a member of a society. You chose culture, and it is correct. Ethnology and linguistics belong to which field of anthropology? Good thinking. Cultural is the right answer. Shamanic practices are within the scope of cultural anthropology. Smart pick. Not given is the correct choice. Dash is the study of human culture and how it develops over time.
Well done. Anthropology is the right choice.
Something that shows proof or an indication that something is true. Great thinking. Evidence is the right choice. It started as the study of non-European people by European people. Bravo. Political science is the answer. Dash is the study of the past by looking at what people left behind. Clear logic. Your choice archaeology is sound. This subfield studies human biological variation in time and space. Excellent. Biological anthropology is a brilliant choice. Which of the following is not a sub-branch of physical anthropology? Well picked. Ethnolinguistic is the correct answer. Choose the correct answer of the union between language plus culture equal to. Solid response. Sociolinguistic topic is a valid choice. Which of the following is not a method of anthropology and sociology?
Good job. Laboratory research works well here.
Which of these is most closely associated with cultural anthropology? Correct. Social sciences is the right answer. What is the study of human origins, evolution, and diversity known as? On track. Anthropology is the correct answer. Information that comes directly from a person who experienced an event. Smart move. Primary source is an accurate answer. Which of the following is not a major area in biological anthropology? Great job. Ethnology is the accurate answer. Ralph Piddington talked about some general aims in social anthropology. Right choice. False is the best answer. A class of individuals with similar physical characteristics are called. Exactly. Species makes sense. Discipline of anthropology that deals with the study of human genetics. Sharp thinking. Biological physical anthropology is the right choice. Which of the following kinds of work would applied anthropology include? Valid point. All of the above is true. Which of these is not included in the four main subfields of anthropology? Strong choice. Applied anthropology is the right answer. Which field of anthropology studies the relationships of people in groups? Well reasoned. Social anthropology is the correct choice. Investigation of past cultures through the excavation of materials remains. You're right. Archaeology is the correct answer. The time before people invented writing and could begin to record events.
Perfect. Prehistory is the correct choice.
The study of humankind in all aspects, especially development and culture. You got it? Your choice, anthropology, is right.
Is enriched by contributions from various disciplines and goes beyond them.
Right again. Anthropology is a valid answer. It deals with the archaeological sites on land, both open and cave sites.
Nice work. You chose terrestrial, and it is correct. It sees the commonalities among people.
Excellent choice. Anthropology is the right answer.
It investigates and seeks to understand the cultural features of societies.
Nice selection. Cultural anthropology is the correct and valid answer. Which of the following studies the remains and artifacts of ancient people? Correct response. Archaeology is the most accurate answer. Focused on the study remains in an attempt to describe the behavior of human. Nicely done. Archaeological anthropology is a solid answer. Which field of anthropology studies the language structure of the Seminoles? Right again. Linguistic anthropology is a valid answer. What subfield of anthropology focuses on studying and interpreting artifacts? On track. Archaeology is the correct answer. An anthropologist examines a decomposed body to determine the cause of death. Valid point. Cultural anthropology is true. Its goal is to keep social order and harmony among different groups of people. Bravo! Political science is the answer. What is the scientific study of past human cultures and civilizations called? Excellent. Archaeology is a brilliant choice.
Is the study of human beings as a species and as members of different cultures. Correct response. Anthropology is the most accurate answer.
Which field of anthropology studies the symbols, laws, and values of a society?
Good thinking. Cultural anthropology is the right answer.
One of the aims of cultural anthropology is to gather information about nature. Perfect. False is the correct choice.
What was the most common kind of anthropology in the late 1800s to early 1900s?
Right choice. Salvage anthropology is the best answer. The relationship of cultures to their immediate physical environment is called.
Clear logic. Your choice, cultural ecology, is sound.
Studies the way of life of contemporary and historically recent human societies. Correct. Cultural anthropology is the right answer. The study of human societies and cultures and their development is known as dash. Excellent choice. Anthropology is the right answer. Which field of anthropology studies the artifacts of ancient Mayan civilizations? Well reasoned. Archaeology is the correct choice. Looks into the biological development of humans and their contemporary variation. Great job. Physical anthropology is the accurate answer. It is the systematic study of political and government institutions and processes. Well picked. Political science is the correct answer. Which anthropological theory addresses gender roles and inequalities in societies? You're right. Feminist anthropology is the correct answer. Which anthropology studied the Yanomami indigenous peoples in the Amazon rainforest? Strong choice. Napoleon Chagnon is the right answer. Cultural anthropology studies the similarities and differences among societies. Nicely done. Both of them is a solid answer. Da found only in the mitochondria that is inherited through mothers, never fathers.
Sharp thinking. Mitochondrial DNA is the right choice.
Dash is a broad term meaning the application of the study of insects to legal cases.
Nice selection. Forensic entomology is the correct and valid answer.
What is the application of the techniques of biological anthropology to solve crimes?
Well done. Forensic anthropology is the right choice. What is the term for the study of human societies and cultures and their development? Good job. Anthropology works well here. This theory believes that each society has its own particular historical development. You got it? Your choice? Historical particularism is right. Refers to the study of living people and their cultures, including variation and change. Smart pick. Cultural anthropology is the correct choice. The investigation of bones and the marks on them to uncover a potential cause of death. Smart move. Skeletal trauma analysis is an accurate answer. Study of institutions' marriage, family or processes such as change and social mobility. You chose sociology, and it is correct.
The study of origin, behavior, as well as the physical, social and cultural development.
Nice work. You chose anthropology, and it is correct. Information about an event that does not come from a person who experienced that event. Exactly. Secondary source makes sense. This branch of anthropology looks at past cultures by studying their material remains. Solid response. Archaeology is a valid choice. It includes the study of communications, origins, history, and contemporary variation. Great thinking. Linguistic anthropology is the right choice. It is the study of past human cultures through the recovery and analysis of artifacts. Good job. Archaeology works well here. Choose the correct answer. How many types of culture exist in linguistic anthropology? Perfect. 6 is the correct choice. Studies the interrelationships between language and other aspects of a people's culture. Right choice. Linguistics is the best answer. Cultural anthropology asks whether human emotions are universal or culturally specific. Smart move. True is an accurate answer.
Which field of anthropology studies how people in a society communicate with each other? Strong choice. Linguistic anthropology is the right answer.
Which subfield of anthropology focuses on the study of language and its role in society? You're right. Linguistic anthropology is the correct answer. What is the branch of anthropology that studies the cultural aspects of human societies? Clear logic. Your choice sociocultural anthropology is sound. The practical use of anthropological theories and methods outside the academic setting is...
Nice work. You chose applied anthropology, and it is correct.
The field of science that would be involved in identifying the skeletal remains is called...
Well done. Forensic anthropology is the right choice.
The aim of anthropology is to study humans in various cultural colors to develop society.
Correct. Practical is the right answer.
Uses anthropological perspectives, theory and knowledge to solve real-world problems. Great thinking. Applied anthropology is the right choice. A branch of anthropology that focuses on the content and variation of particular cultures. Correct response. Sociocultural anthropology is the most accurate answer. Which anthropological theory examines the relationship between culture and the environment?
Nicely done. Cultural ecology and neo-evolutionism is a solid answer.
A distinguishing feature of anthropology is its approach to the study of human groups.
Exactly. Holistic makes sense. This is the study of society, patterns of social interactions, and culture of everyday life.
Nice selection. Sociology is the correct and valid answer. Discipline of anthropology that focuses on use of language in a particular time and society.
Well reasoned. Linguistic anthropology is the correct choice.
Which of the following specialties did not emerge from the practice of applied anthropology?
Sharp thinking. Cultural anthropology is the right choice. The scientific study of past cultures through the examination of artifacts and other evidence. Well picked. Archaeology is the correct answer. Preservation of cultural diversity and respect for traditions in this period of globalization. Solid response. Anthropology is a valid choice. Which of the following studies culture from their belief systems, practices, and possessions? Great job. Cultural anthropology is the accurate answer. Choose the most appropriate answer. Nowadays, social anthropology focuses a little bit more on. Good thinking. Social systems is the right answer. It studies the materials remains of humans, best known for the study of prehistoric cultures. Excellent. Archaeology is a brilliant choice. Emile Durkheim, Auguste Comte, Pierre Bourdieu, and Max Weber are the main representatives of Excellent choice. Sociology is the right answer.
The study of physical anthropology, as it applies to human skeletal remains in a legal setting.
Valid point. Forensic anthropology is true.
It deals with the study of the nature of humanity, which also leads to examine our social role. Bravo. Sociology is the answer.
It is the study of humanity, including our prehistoric origins and contemporary human diversity.
Right again. Anthropology is a valid answer. Which subfield of anthropology examines the ways in which people use language to create meaning? On track. Linguistic anthropology is the correct answer.
Framing legislative policies abolishing or limiting political dynasties all over the Philippines. You got it? Your choice political science is right.
Which anthropological theory explores how culture influences individual personality development?
Smart pick. Culture and Personality School is the correct choice.
Which of the following studies biological development of humans and their contemporary variation?
You chose Physical Anthropology, and it is correct.
Focuses on these special interests, human evolution as revealed by the fossils, human genetics, etc. Well reasoned. Biological anthropology is the correct choice.
The investigation of the marks on bone and their condition to uncover a potential cause of death.
Strong choice. Skeletal trauma analysis is the right answer. Promote to study of a society's culture through their belief systems, practices, and possessions. Correct. Cultural anthropology is the right answer. One of the goals is to study the nature of humanity to further examine our roles within a society. You're right. Sociology is the correct answer.
It entails political ideas, ideologies, institutions, policies, processes, laws, strategy, and war. On track. Political science is the correct answer.
What interdisciplinary study explores how language shapes communication and influences social life?
Sharp thinking. Linguistic anthropology is the right choice.
What is the field of anthropology that explores the central role of language in human cultural life?
Bravo! Linguistic anthropology is the answer.
This subfield studies language in its social and cultural context across space and over time. Smart move. Linguistic anthropology is an accurate answer. Which anthropological theory questions the authority of anthropologists to represent other cultures?
Clear logic. Your choice postmodern school is sound. Which field of anthropology studies fossil remains to learn how human characteristics have developed?
Oh. Excellent. Physical anthropology is a brilliant choice.
Which field of anthropology studies how goods and services are produced and distributed in a society?
Correct response. Social anthropology is the most accurate answer. What is the study of how people in different cultures categorize and use plants for various purposes?
Great job. Ethnobotany is the accurate answer.
What is the inclusive study of the human race, its culture and society, and its physical development? Right again. Anthropology is a valid answer. Which subfield of anthropology involves the collection and analysis of data on non-Western societies?
You got it. Your choice cultural anthropology is right.
It reconstructs, describe and interpret human behavior and cultural patterns through material remains.
Excellent choice. Archaeological anthropology is the right answer.
Analyzing and explaining different cultures in comparison to one another or to themselves is called.
Nice work. You chose ethnology, and it is correct.
Which anthropological theory critiques the objective and universal nature of traditional anthropology? Oh. Great thinking. Postmodern school is the right choice.
What is the study of how people in the past understood and used celestial objects for various purposes? Right choice. Archaeoastronomy is the best answer. Which of the following types of cultural anthropology would be considered the least applied in its focus? Smart pick. Ethnography is the correct choice.
A detailed, written description of a culture resting on actual interaction with that culture is known as
Good thinking. Ethnography is the right answer.
which facial feature is the most distinguishing among the three main races in forensic anthropology.
Well picked. Prognostism tax objective of 0.5 is the correct answer.
Anthropology aimed very purposefully at practical results is referred to as dash anthropology.
You chose applied, and it is correct.
Another branch on anthropology that deals with the material remain of the past and present cultural systems.
Well done. Archaeology is the right choice.
What is the branch of linguistic anthropology that involves dissecting a language and analyzing its features?
Perfect. Descriptive linguistics is the correct choice.
What is the field of anthropology devoted to describing and understanding the wide variety of human cultures?
Nicely done. Cultural anthropology is a solid answer.
Dash also looks at prehistoric times. Paleontologists study fossils to learn what the world was like long ago.
Nice selection. Paleontology is the correct and valid answer.
It is the study of culture through the interpretation of the meaning of symbols, values, and beliefs in society.
Solid response. Symbolic anthropology is a valid choice.
What is the term for the systematic study of human remains to understand past populations and their lifestyles?
Good job. Biological anthropology works well here.
Which of the anthropological subfields most prepares a student with the skills for success in the 21st century?
Exactly. Cultural anthropology makes sense.
What is the branch of anthropology that studies the relationship between human societies and their environments?
Valid point. Cultural ecology is true. If you were interested in languages, their origin and development, which branch of anthropology would you study? Strong choice. Linguistics is the right answer.
The goal is to discover what makes people different from each other in order to understand and preserve diversity.
Excellent. Anthropology is a brilliant choice.
What is the branch of anthropology that focuses on the study of human remains and their biological characteristics?
Nice work. You chose biological anthropology, and it is correct.
The scientific study of the origins and behavior, as well as the physical, social, and cultural development of humans.
Solid response. Anthropology is a valid choice.
Which subfield of anthropology involves the excavation and analysis of material remains left by past human societies?
Valid point. Archaeology is true.
Choose the correct option.
Well picked. Cultural anthropology is the correct answer.
Which subfield of anthropology studies the cultural beliefs, practices, and social institutions of different societies?
Clear logic. Your choice, cultural anthropology, is sound.
Which field of anthropology is primarily interested in the prehistory and early history of societies and their cultures?
Correct response. Archaeology is the most accurate answer.
Which subfield of anthropology focuses on the study of human biological diversity and the evolution of the human species?
Good job. Physical anthropology works well here.
What is the branch of linguistic anthropology that studies the relationship between language and social cultural contexts?
You're right. Sociolinguistics is the correct answer.
It is an academic discipline that deals with the study of government and political processes, institutions, and behaviors.
Right again. Political science is a valid answer.
Which anthropological theory focuses on understanding the functions of customs, beliefs, and institutions within a society? Correct. Functional school of thought is the right answer. Which field of anthropology studies the material creations of a society, including artwork, housing, tools, and architecture?
Good thinking. Cultural anthropology is the right answer.
This theory is basically materialistic. It assumes that the systems of producing material goods influences and shapes society.
Bravo. Marxist anthropology is the answer.
The study of groups and their behavior. Exactly. Sociology makes sense. How has the history of colonialism affected the perception of indigenous communities in anthropology, potentially leading to xenophobia?
Nicely done. Reinforcement of xenophobia is a solid answer.
The branch of anthropology that studies human biology, both past and present, including human evolution and contemporary biological variability.
Excellent choice. Physical anthropology is the right answer.
The key factors in and determinants of socio-cultural evolution are the infrastructures that include technology, environment, and material conditions.
Perfect. Cultural materialism is the correct choice.
The study of the origin, behavior, and development of humans is
Well reasoned. Anthropology is the correct choice.
The analysis of differences in skeletal remains to determine identity is
On track. Forensic anthropology is the correct answer. The anthropological analysis of human biological and cultural remains for legal purposes. You chose forensic anthropology. And it is correct.
Which field of anthropology is primarily concerned with the non-cultural aspects of humans and near-humans? A.
Right choice. Biological anthropology is the best answer.
how you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format.
Well done. Contact Narayan Chengder is the right choice.